Hey, this is Mike with Plus 8 Precision, and we're going to do a little bit of metal stamping, some flanging of metal, and you'll see how the process goes. But what we have to do is we know what we're going to be making, and we're going to make it out of this piece of aluminum, which is approximately, let me get a mic and I'll tell you in a moment. Alright, let's see. Metal is 40 thou. If you can see it, 40 thou. So it's approximately a millimeter thick piece of aluminum. It's mild, flexible. It's not stiff or anything. Some aluminums are more, have more strength in them, more tensile strength, so they have more spring back. This one has less spring back. I don't know the percentage though, but it's less than, say, like 60, 61 or some other 50, I think 50, 53. Some of the other aluminums, and I could be wrong on some of that, but definitely the 60, 61. So first thing we got to do is we come up with a shape. And this is our template of what we're going to be making. And this one is obviously a template as well, made with the same process. But what we're going to do is we're going to lay this out on here, and we're going to scribe it off so we can cut it on the bandsaw. Since we are going to be, maybe not this one, but this project, when I made them, originally required me to finish them to a fairly high degree of polish. And so because of that, you don't want to damage it. And as you can see, this one, it's got marks on it. This is old. It's been in my toolbox. To get these marks out would take more polishing. And the most time-consuming of this part of this project is polishing. So I'm going to give you an example of how much shine you can bring out of like this piece of aluminum. And you can see clearly, you know, that it is it's quite dull. And this hasn't been protected from scratches. If I was going to be making something that I wanted to actually display or use or as a decorative piece, this would need to be protected. So, but here's an example real quick. So you can see the shine. There's some small imperfections on there, but if I was to use a little bit of buffing compound, they would come right out. But you can see, you can obtain a very nice shine, almost like a chrome. And this is aluminum. You can do the same with stainless. Stainless will polish up very nicely. But this, like I said, is the most time-consuming portion of a project like this, is to get the shine. Takes a little bit of work. Okay, so again, you can see the shine that can be brought out of the aluminum. You know, it's pretty high gloss. You know, you can see some slight scratches and some hazing. This was polished quite a long time ago. Excuse me. And the aluminum will haze up, like if you have it on a motorcycle or excuse me. If you have it on a motorcycle or a car or something that's outdoors, the weather will just haze it up, and you'll have to bring it back. You know, polish it, either hit it with a buffing wheel, or if it's something that can't be brought in or taken off, you can always use Mother's aluminum polish, magnesium polish. I'm not sure which it is, but that works very well for polishing. And so the first thing we're going to do will be to protect this. And again, this doesn't have to be protected, but I'm just going through the motions of how to do this. So you can simply just use masking tape and just put down a couple of layers. And that will protect this while you're working on it. And again, it doesn't have to be absolutely lined up perfectly, just so that way any of the work you do will be protected. One thing you don't want to do if you're going to be putting this a certain amount of pressure on this is you don't want this to overlap, because if the tape overlaps, then that could bleed through on the actual metal. And I always do both sides of it. And you see I'm not going to the bottom. You'll see why that is in the next portion of the video. You don't want wrinkles either, because that can do the same thing to the metal. It can bleed through as well. That's not something we want. We only want what we're doing. We don't want things happening that we're not expecting to happen. So, there you have the aluminum. It's protected. And then what we're going to do is we're going to take our template, and we're just simply going to line up the edge. I'll use maybe a parallel or something here. And again, this is a decorative piece, so your dimensions are not 100% critical. So we don't have to really scribe this off. But, you can take as much precision as you want. But actually, a ballpoint pen, you could use a mechanical pencil if you'd like, with a fine lead. But this is really as much precision as you need. And there you have it. And, when we start to cut this off, because this will all be the waste here. That'll be the waste. We'll cut it out, and we'll leave the line, and then we'll file back to that line, and that's when we'll actually sweeten these ends up. Now, this one I probably could have scooted it down a little bit more to the edge, but this way we can actually file that so it matches the line. If we would have cut that with the bandsaw blade, it could have wandered a little bit. So that concludes this portion. We'll cut it, and then we'll file it, and then we'll get on to the actual metal stamping flanging operation. And if you have any comments, leave them down in the comment section. If you want to see how the polishing works, request that down in the comment section, because unless you've done this, it takes a little bit of practice and a little bit of know-how. Back when this project, the very first time I did this project was many years ago. There was no such thing as YouTube. So you had to look for your information in books and figure out how to do things then. So it's kind of a trial and error type deal. But this is the first part. This is, I guess it could be part one, or maybe I'll blend all the videos together. Again, any questions, comments, leave them down in the comment section, and I'll be continuing on this process.